Spider-Man has a superpower the movies completely ignore. And I'm not talking about organic webbing. I'm talking about spider sense, the ability that should make Peter Parker one of the most overpowered characters in Marvel. Most people think spider sense is just a danger alarm, a little tingle before someone punches him. But in the comics, spider sense is borderline psychic ability that lets Peter track people across entire cities, detect lies, and sense threats before they even exist. Today, we're breaking down what spider sense actually does and why the MCU had to nerf it into oblivion. It's not just danger detection. Spider sense doesn't just say danger nearby. It tells Peter exactly where the danger is coming from, how far away it is, and what kind of threat it is. In the comics, Peter can fight in complete darkness because spider sense works as 360-degree radar. Someone points a gun at him from 3 blocks away. His spider sense points him directly to that location. Enemy sneaking up behind him. He knows their exact position without looking. There's a storyline where Peter fights in a pitch-black warehouse against multiple opponents. He doesn't just survive, he dominates. Every punch thrown at him, he dodges. Every attack he makes lands perfectly, because spider sense is feeding him spatial information constantly. The MCU shows this once in Infinity War, when Peter's arm hairs stand up, but that's barely scratching the surface. The range is insane. Spider sense doesn't have a clear limit. Peter has sensed dangers from miles away. In the comics, Peter is in Queens, and his spider sense alerts him to Aunt May being threatened in Manhattan. That's miles of distance. His sixth sense tracks threats to people he cares about across an entire city. He's detected bombs about to explode in buildings he's nowhere near. He's sensed ambushes before they're sprung. He can feel enemies approaching before they even have line of sight on him. The movies reduce this to, Peter feels weird right before something hits him. That's not spider sense. That's a completely different power. It detects lies. Here's the ability that would break half the MCU storylines. Spider sense can detect deception. When someone lies to Peter, his spider sense tingles. Not as strongly as physical danger, but it's there. Peter describes it as a wrongness he feels when people are being dishonest. He's used this to detect undercover villains and catch people manipulating him. Why? Because deception represents a threat. Spider sense picks up on hostile intent, and lying to manipulate someone counts as hostile intent. Let's think about how this changes the MCU. Civil War. Tony Stark recruits Peter and doesn't tell him the whole truth. MCU Peter is just excited to meet Iron Man. But comic Peter? His spider sense would be screaming that Tony's being deceptive. He'd know something was wrong. Far from home. Mysterio's entire plan relies on Peter trusting him. But if Peter had full spider sense, he'd immediately know Beck was lying. The moment Mysterio started his manipulation, Peter's head would be tingling. The entire movie wouldn't work. No Way Home. Peter wouldn't need Strange to tell him the spell was going wrong. His spider sense would alert him the moment something felt off. The MCU had to nerf spider sense because otherwise Peter couldn't be manipulated. And superhero movies require heroes to make mistakes. It's actually precognition. This is the big one. Spider sense doesn't just detect current threats, it detects future threats. Peter's spider sense triggers before danger exists. Not just a split second before, sometimes minutes or hours before. He's had his spider sense warn him about time-delayed bombs and enemies who are planning to attack but haven't acted yet. This is straight-up precognition. Peter is sensing things that haven't happened yet. That's not a physical sense. That's bordering on magic. There are comics where Peter's spider sense wakes him up in the middle of the night because danger is coming in the morning. It's predicting future events. The most famous example is when Peter senses something is wrong with Gwen Stacy before the Green Goblin even kidnaps her. His spider sense picks up on danger that's still in the planning stages. If MCU Peter had this ability, half the fights in his movies would never happen because he'd sense the trap before walking into it. It can't be fooled. Spider sense bypasses normal senses entirely. You can't fool it with illusions, disguises, or invisibility. If Mysterio creates a holographic threat, Peter's spider sense won't react because there's no real danger. But if there's an invisible enemy about to stab him, spider sense triggers because the threat is real. There's a moment in the comics where Mysterio surrounds Peter with dozens of holographic duplicates. Peter closes his eyes and lets Spider-Sense guide him to the real Mysterio, because his sixth sense only reacts to actual threats, not illusions. Far From Home completely ignores this. Peter is confused by Mysterio's illusions throughout the movie. Comic Peter would immediately know which threats are real and which are holograms. Why the movies nerfed it. The MCU turned Spider-Sense into tingly feeling right before something hits him. Why? 2 reasons. First, full power Spider-Sense makes Peter too hard to hit. If Peter can sense every attack before it happens and knows exactly where enemies are at all times, how do you make fights challenging? Action scenes need stakes. Second, plot requires Peter to make mistakes. He needs to trust the wrong people and walk into traps. Full Spider-Sense ruins those plot beats because Peter would sense deception immediately. The movies chose narrative convenience over power accuracy. MCU Spider-Man is significantly weaker than his comic counterpart because of this. Why this matters? Spider-Sense is what lets a teenager fight gods and monsters. Peter doesn't have Iron Man's money or Thor's godhood. He's a kid from Queens. Spider-Sense is what bridges that gap. It's the power that lets him dodge bullets, fight multiple opponents, and survive encounters that should kill him. It's also crucial to Peter's character. He's constantly processing danger signals. His brain never shuts off threat assessment. This is why Comic Peter is anxious and jokes during fights. Humor is his coping mechanism for living in perpetual danger awareness. The movies show Peter as anxious and jokey, but don't connect it to Spider-Sense because they've downgraded the power so much. The bottom line. Spider-Sense is supposed to be borderline precognition. It's tactical awareness. It's lie detection. It's directional radar. All of this running in Peter's subconscious constantly. The movies turned it into, sometimes Peter dodges things. That's not even close. Comic book Spider-Man is one of the most powerful street-level heroes specifically because Spider-Sense gives him awareness that borders on supernatural. MCU Spider-Man is way weaker, and that changes his entire power level. So next time someone says Spider-Man is just strong guy who shoots webs, remember, he's got a power that would make him nearly unbeatable if it wasn't constantly nerfed for plot reasons. What other powers do you think the movies got wrong? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you want more deep dives like this, hit that subscribe button.